I notice a pattern in my life. When my friends are struggling with something, I will do anything to make them feel better. I will tell them how great they are. I will remind them of everything they've already accomplished. And I will take them out to eat to their favorite place. Anything to make them feel better. But when I am the one who made a mistake, I will criticize myself. And I will treat myself like I would never treat a friend in need. Frankly, I feel like I should be hard on myself. That way, when I make mistakes, I will never do them again. But I notice how miserable it makes me feel. Sometimes for hours and sometimes for days. Since I started practicing self-compassion, I realized that I don't need to be so hard on myself, and it's okay to be kind to myself in that moment. Yes, I made a mistake, but it's already in the past and there is nothing I can do about it now. Yes, I feel ashamed for doing something stupid, but everyone has done something stupid at least at one point in their life. I shouldn't blame myself for days on end and instead try to learn something from it. And maybe next time, I will not do the same thing again. This component of self-compassion is called SelfKindness. It's important to realize that self-kindness is not just stopping self-judgment, but it's actively trying to comfort ourselves, treating ourselves like we would treat a friend, reminding ourselves of everything we've already accomplished, and that failing is a part of growing and improving. Hopefully, there are many other people around you to give you the support you need. But solely depending on other people will not change the way we feel about ourselves. Even then, people we rely on might not be there all the time. Relationships may end, friends can move to a different city, and therapy can be too expensive. But the person we always have with us is ourselves. We can show ourselves that we're worthy of care and acceptance, and that we always have help at hand within ourselves. One hormone that makes us feel good is oxytocin. It can increase the feelings of safety and trust while reducing the feelings of stress and anxiety. You might have heard of it as a cuddle hormone. It is released when we feel safe and connected with someone, especially when hugging or cuddling or just touching someone. But research found that thoughts and emotions have the same effect on our brain when directed towards someone else or towards ourselves. That shows that self-compassion can be a powerful trigger of oxytocin. Self-criticism works in a completely different way. It triggers a part of our brain called amygdala that is responsible for the fight or flight response. Amygdala is the oldest part of our brain. Its function was to detect threats in our environment, such as a crocodile in the water, so we can save ourselves. But in our everyday, there are typically no threats to our environment, but our brain still perceives it that way. Next time you find yourself getting into this self-critical mode, try changing the way you talk to yourself. Marshall Rosenberg, the author of the best-selling book Nonviolent Communication, stresses the importance of using sympathetic rather than judgmental language when we talk to ourselves. He says we should reframe our inner dialogue so that it expresses empathy for our basic human needs. He suggests asking 4 simple questions. What am I observing? What am I feeling? What am I needing right now? Do I have a request of myself or someone else? These 4 questions should help you figure out what you need most in the moment. Remember, you are the only person who will be available 24/7 to provide care and support to yourself for the rest of your life. We can't stop painful moments from happening, but we can turn them into opportunities to give ourselves some love. The second component of self-compassion is common humanity. The acknowledgement that we're not alone, that is what makes it different from self-love and self-acceptance. Compassion by definition means to suffer with. which implies that our human experience is imperfect. We're bound to make mistakes, but that is only human to do so. That is what distinguishes self-compassion and self-pity. Where self-pity goes, "Ah, poor me," self-compassion acknowledges that everybody suffers. But that offers comfort, because everybody is human. The pain that I feel in difficult moments is the same pain that you feel in difficult moments. The triggers are different, the circumstances are different, the degree of pain is different, but the process is the same. But most people don't focus on what they have in common with the others, especially when they're absorbed in the feelings of their own insufficiency and insecurity. Somehow, they're the only one who's constantly being dumped, proven wrong, or made a fool of. Everybody else has this perfect life, has it all figured out, and you are the only one who is struggling every day. And so you start thinking, there's gotta be something wrong with you. And if you are deficient, how can you possibly belong? But isn't that exactly what we call being human? Going through life, figuring it out, getting lost and finding your path while making mistakes along the way? Instead of having a perfect, happy life, making mistakes and failing, that's what makes us like the rest. After all, we are imperfect. And that is what it means to be human. We also forget that who we are, how we think, and what we do is a result of the past and people surrounding us. Let's say you have an anger issue you keep criticizing yourself for. Let's see what could be the causes of that anger issue. Perhaps genetics, perhaps family dynamics growing up. But could you have chosen your genes? Or could you have chosen the family you were born into? Did you sign this contract before you entered this world that your life will go perfectly and now it's not what you've signed up for? When we recognize a complex network of causes and conditions that we're all part of, we can be less judgmental of ourselves and others. A deep understanding of interbeing can allow us to have compassion for the fact that we're doing the best we can with the hand life has dealt us. And you could say, but don't we need judgment to tell right from wrong and take personal responsibility for our mistakes? It's important to draw the line between judgment and discriminating wisdom. Judgment defines a person as good versus bad, trying to capture the essential nature with simplistic labels. Discriminating wisdom recognizes when things are harmful or unjust, but it also recognizes the causes and conditions of the situations that lead to those harmful or unjust situations. It acknowledges that life has unfolded in such a way as to cause for something to happen, but allows for a possibility that with a new set of circumstances, things might go differently. The third component of self-compassion is mindfulness. Mindfulness is a practice of bringing your attention to the present moment without judgment, taking reality as is, no more, no less. In order to give ourselves compassion in difficult moments, we first need to be aware that we're struggling. You might think it's easy. If you hurt your finger, you will immediately know you are in pain, or if somebody else hurt you. But when you start self-criticizing and pinpointing all you've done wrong, you don't realize how much pain it's causing you and how difficult it is to be on the receiving end. We often don't recognize feelings of guilt, defectiveness, sadness, loneliness, and so on as moments of suffering that can be responded to with compassion. When you look in the mirror and notice something you don't like about yourself, do you immediately go, this is a moment of suffering that can be responded to with kind, caring response? We typically focus on the failure itself rather than the pain caused by the failure. When we notice our pain without exaggerating it, this is a moment of mindfulness, observing what is going on right here, right now. This insight allows us to see that thoughts about the past and the future are just that, thoughts. I heard this quote that captures it brilliantly. The past doesn't exist except in our memory, and the future doesn't exist except in our imagination. When we take a step back and realize, this is what I'm feeling or thinking. Instead of simply feeling anger, I am now aware that I'm feeling anger, and I don't have to be consumed by this emotion. By taking a step back and reflecting on my reactions, I can choose how I wish to proceed. If you're mindful of the pain associated with the moment, you can give yourself some love and kindness, so the moment is no longer that hard. You can remind yourself that yes, it is a difficult moment. It's part of being human, going through difficulties, and you deserve some compassion. My favorite part about self-compassion is that once I no longer take every failure as a threat and judge myself for every mistake, I am more likely to open up to myself in those situations. I don't have to be better than everyone around me. I am not perfect. I have my flaws, but so does everybody else. You can't be good at everything. Believe me, if I could, I'd love to be, but there aren't enough hours in a day. And even if I did try to do that, I'd be mediocre in everything, but not truly great. Mindfulness also allows me to go, what do I truly need right now to help me in the future? I might not want to work out right now or do work, but this might be the best thing I could do for myself for the sake of my future. It's funny how being kinder towards myself is also making me more motivated to be better. The beauty about self-compassion is that there is more than one way to feel better about a difficult situation. You can hold your thoughts and emotions in a mindful awareness. You can remind yourself that encountering pain is a part of shared human experience. And you can give yourself kindness and care, in no particular order, whatever you feel like you need most in the moment. Instead of letting the situation dictate your actions and feelings, you can guide your next steps that would lead to greater health, happiness, and well-being. And the best part is that you don't need anyone to give yourself compassion. You don't need for the moment to get better. Compassion is available to you anytime, any place. A lot of this information came from a book called Self-Compassion by Christine Neff. I will link it down in the description below if you would like to check it out. I will be making more videos like this in the future where I try learning how to lead a happy and peaceful life, so consider subscribing. If you had any value from this video, then consider giving it a big thumbs up as it will help me in return. Alright, giving you so much love, and I'll see you in the next one.